Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Travel and Lifestyle Conversations. I am your host, Tamika Jones. And what am I going to say? What am I going to say? I'm going to say you are in for a treat today. Thank you for joining the program once again. I'm so excited to introduce this guest and have a conversation. His name is Travis Levius. You guys, he is a phenomenal travel journalist. Let me bring up some of his accolades so you know exactly who he is. Like I said, he is a travel journalist. He's also a content creator. His niche is kind of luxury travel. And if you don't know that already, which I'm sure you do, go follow him on Instagram at Mr. Levius. He is fantastic, you guys. He's also a freelance writer for many popular media outlets, including CNN, my former home, Condé Nast Traveler, Travel and Leisure, Business Insider, Telegraph, on and on and on and on. You can catch him. All you have to do is Google him, and you will come across all of his amazing work. So without further ado, I am going to bring in the man of the hour. Travis, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thanks for having
Welcome to
me.
Travel and Lifestyle Conversations.
Welcome. Happy to be here.
You know what I forgot to say? I forgot to do this. I always do this. I can't believe I don't know if I said this, but Travis, are you ready for a little TLC?
I'm ready for some TLC.
All right. I am so happy to have you here. And then to have you actually in a place where you can spend some time with us because typically you are on the road doing your thing.
That's true. Yeah,
Doing
you got
your
me at a
thing.
good time right before I get on the road. So
Exactly.
it's
I'm
just a sweet
happy I
spot.
caught you. It was fate. It was fate. It was meant to be.
Absolutely.
Okay, Travis, for I'm pretty sure many people they know more about you than they know about me, okay? So, just in case they need a refresher, please tell them a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So I am Travis, as Tamika also eloquently put. I'm a travel journalist and content creator. I was an assistant teacher with a dream and kind of just quit and moved to London with no money and really no um, specific goals. But I kept following my gut and it led me to my dream job and it's now taken me to 45 countries in all seven continents. And now I share my story, but also amazing content on different platforms and just talk about life, travel, and the pursuit of happiness.
Oh, I love it. I'm in pursuit of happiness. Can you help me, Travis?
I got you.
Okay, good. Good. Oh my God. It's your work is amazing. I will say, I mean, in all seriousness, I am inspired by a lot of your work. Um, like you mentioned before, you said you were once a educator. Well, I guess
Yes.
I can, on all honesty, you still are an educator, but you were a teacher. You worked in a classroom.
Yes. Yep. I was an assistant teacher at a private school in Atlanta for children with learning disabilities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so I did enjoy the job.
Hmm.
For the most part, kids will be kids.
Right, right,
But
right.
I had to be real with myself and ask myself, in a perfect world with no
Hmm.
limitations, no challenges, what would I be doing?
Hmm.
And I wrote down, live in London and travel the world. Just as simple as that. And well, several years later, I have a really crazy journey. Life was able to make it happen. So I am very much like team manifest that ish.
I know that's right.
Team, write down those goals. Team, follow your gut. Team, have the courage to pursue your dreams because the life that you want is available to you. And I hope to be living proof to other people that it's absolutely possible.
Okay, so you're telling me you were a teacher. You wrote it down that you were going to live in London and travel.
Right. I didn't know if I was going to do it, but I know I wanted to.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And I would visualize myself multiple times a week in those spaces.
So
And
you took yourself there mentally.
absolutely. Before I got there physically.
Wow. Did you know what? I'm jumping ahead here. I'm jumping ahead. So eventually take it, you moved to London.
So it was a one-way ticket.
Oh.
I was in my 20s and didn't really I wasn't a great financially savvy adult, so didn't have a lot of savings.
I mean, in your 20s, I mean,
You know,
right.
some are better than others. I was definitely not one of the better ones, but I just kind of went on my gut that kept telling me over and over and over that it was time to just do it. It's time to take that leap. Time to move to London, and things will hopefully work out. And so I did with $300 to my name.
Wow.
So I had a lot of faith that something was going
Absolutely.
to work out. And thank God I had friends that I've made over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and so many couches I have slept. I know London very well because of the different neighborhoods that I've been able to stay at for the different friends that I stayed at during that rough time. But
Right.
yeah, it was rough, and like for the first 2 months, I'm like, what did I do? This is all wrong. But then something in me was like, keep going. It's hell right now. Like you can hardly afford, bus fare in one of the most expensive cities in the world, but
Mm.
keep going. And we can
Wow.
get more into that story later, but
Yeah.
eventually, you know, I'm still alive, clearly.
And thriving. So,
Yes, thank you.
I really want to know. So, how did you what was there somebody or something, or maybe just you in your mind? You got to keep going. You got to keep going. Like when you're looking at your bank account and, trying to get something to eat, and you're just like, what am I doing? But I'm going to keep going.
Right. I'm a very big proponent of following your intuition.
Mm,
So I think if my gut was like, well, you tried.
hmm.
Try to get back to Atlanta. And that's the beautiful thing about it, which, and I feel like even if I were to have like tried and return and not come back to London and be the journalist that I am now, like
Hmm.
at least I tried, because I think what scared me before I took that leap was this misconception that a lot of people also have, is that it seemed like if you fail with taking a chance for your dreams, that you're just like gonna die. But it's like the worst thing that can really happen is that you just go back to where you started,
Right.
right? So once I realized that, I'm like, well, what am I so afraid of? Like, why not give my dreams a try?
Right.
So that helped to get
Yeah.
over that hump. But then I wanted to kind of get an out. If I wanted my gut to maybe say like, maybe let's just go back home and figure it out. Let's get another teaching job. But I had to be true to myself. And my gut was like, keep going. So just honoring the same inner voice that led me to London in the first place.
Hmm.
Um, you know, honoring it, that definitely was the best decision I ever made, even if it was inconvenient and tough and
Hmm.
lots of sweat and tears with it, but it's worth it.
You know, everyone, thanks for joining us. And again, this is Travis Levius, influential travel journalist and content creator. Please leave any comments, ask questions. He's here for the hour, and it looks like some questions are coming in. Oh, people agree with you. So true, Travis. So, as you were talking about earlier, that you truly believe in manifestation and manifesting that ish, we're going to move on and talk about the power of manifestation, which is, there was a video I watched, and everybody go to Travis's Instagram. Let me bring that back up so you can go check out his Instagram. There was a video I saw on your Instagram page, and it was a video of you here in Atlanta at Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, about to take off to the Maldives. And you
Hmm.
paused to share with the world how you manifested just what you were about to take place. Can you share more about that video with people who may not be familiar with it?
Yeah, sure. I've wanted to do that for so long, but it was that time was right when I was going to the Maldives, because I was going in business class. So like, this is truly like a dream come true. Like, I can't believe this is
Absolutely.
happening. So what had happened was, um, 2013, so I guess 8 years ago, I remember being in going to a domestic flight. I think I was going to Chicago, but I said, well, I have some time to spare. Why not get myself in the zone of um, kind of matching my vibration where I want to be in life, which is a world traveler. At the time,
Mm-hmm.
I've only done three countries, which was France and Ireland and England. maybe 4. I think I did Canada too, if that counts. And you know, but I wanted to, travel all over the globe. So I went to an international terminal before my Chicago flight and kind of
Hmm.
sat there as if I was boarding a flight to Tokyo, as if I was boarding a flight to Buenos Aires or to Paris or to New Zealand, and kind of just feel myself, in that mode, as if I was going to have my ticket and board and fly to those places. And so that I just think that's very important for us to feel good about our goals instead of, maybe the lack that we might see in the present. It's like things can happen for you. So learn to match that energy that you want now, and
Hmm.
perhaps it can happen for you. So that just gave me, hope and more confidence that somehow, some way, I'm going to be able to be a world traveler. And so after that, I think the world shifted in my favor.
Wow.
On top of that, on top of using vision boards,
Mm.
actually, funny enough, in 2011, I created a vision board, and on the top of I never shared this actually, I don't think publicly, but on the top of the vision board was the phrase, "The world is yours,"
Wow.
with a map. And at the time, 3 countries, the
Hmm.
3 European ones that I did during my study
Right.
abroad days.
Right.
So, 10 years later, whoa.
I mean,
So, yeah.
you woe is right. So can because I've already forgotten how many places have you been to now?
I think I've hit more than 45 countries now.
Wow.
Yeah. In all
Wow.
7 continents.
And all seven continents.
For
And
work.
for work, the power of manifestation.
Didn't even
Wow.
know when I went to London that this travel writing career, gig stint existed. I didn't
Hmm.
know what I was going to London for, but something
Hmm.
in me was like, go to London and start writing. So months later, it just, and I'm like, wow. So when I wrote down those goals about living in London and traveling the world, when I sat down in the Atlanta airport with no international flight, but immersed myself in that situation, when I put those things on the vision board, when I'd be on the MARTA bus going to work and kind of daydream about being a world traveler, all those things set me up to the reality that I have today.
Wow. That is powerful. And that is manifesting that ish, as you would say.
Yes.
That is absolutely amazing. Um, so with that, did you say how long did it take for things to take off? Okay, you went to London, you started writing,
Hmm.
and were you writing for was it travel related publications or other location, other
It's
publications, excuse me.
Yeah, it started off with a photography company needing content writing. So that
Mhm.
was my first time ever being paid for my writing. So I'm like, oh, this is nice. Like I'm getting out of poverty in London, one article at a time.
Right.
And something in me again, that gut feeling was like, start writing on your blog again. Start writing
Mm.
about London and maybe some of the food and like the dining and bar scene there. I'm like, okay, start taking like your Yelp reviews seriously. So I became a Yelp elite in London at the time, and all of a sudden got an opportunity from a major New York-based website called the Daily Meal, not Daily
Mhm.
Mail, but Daily Meal.
Meal. Okay.
Millions of unique visitors a month, and they were looking for a London city editor. It was unpaid, but that person was responsible for covering London's food and drink scene. So
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I applied and I got the gig. I'm like, even though I'm in very expensive London, I should be looking for paid work right now as a writer. Something tells me that I should keep going with this. And
Mhm.
so I did. And so that gave me a portfolio outside of my blog, just on London. And over time, I realized how the media ecosystem works. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I
Mhm.
don't have to pay for this meal. Like, there are publicists that host you in exchange for those things. So usually, like, people might not know that if you are seeing a restaurant review, for the most part, There's some newspapers that will pay for the expenses, but for the most part, if you see an article about a restaurant, a hotel, a train ride, or whatnot, usually that writer is hosted in
Hmm.
return for editorial coverage. I had no idea that how that
Right.
worked. And so actually, so I moved. I went to London in June 2014. It was February 2015. I had a very fateful lunch with a publicist, and kind of like how we're talking now, we just kind of talked candidly about our dreams and
Hmm.
kind of just
Hmm.
telling her like where I was a few months ago and where I am now, and kind of regurgitating my dream of traveling the world. She's like, "Well, you already write about London, so why don't you start writing about travel?" I'm just like, "Oh." Turns out
Aha.
that that same website had a travel section,
Mm.
right?
Okay.
And so I'm like, I was just putting my head down, had no idea. But I'm glad that things worked out the way it was supposed to. I think it worked out the way it should because it gave me a foundation first before I went out and set out to do the travel stuff. So I was
Right.
already ready to go with portfolio. I knew how everything worked. Writing got better. Da 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 da. So did my first press trip ever, 90 minutes outside of London, and made a lot of money actually with photography because I was a
Hmm.
photographer before I was even a
Oh, okay.
teacher,
Okay.
and so I was able to go to South Africa, and from there, that's just when it exploded for me.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
the experiences, like going to Mozambique and being hosted in this 5-star beach villa where I'm horseback riding on the coastline and snorkeling with dolphins,
Oh,
and then going to
you
Cape
just took me
Town.
there. You just
Yeah.
took me there. You just took me there.
And then going to Cape Town in this like great Gatsby like mansion hotel that's
Mm.
like perched above a cliff facing the Atlantic Ocean, like just the most incredible views you'll ever see. And going to the wine country and having exquisite South African wines
Mm.
and gorgeous boutique accommodations. And I just remember taking a video to myself after I was biking and just seeing the views and just seeing where I was in life and just stopping like, how did I get here?
Right.
How in the world did I get here? Like, how did this all happen? Because just a year ago, I was just like struggling and lost and didn't know what to do. But then I went back to what I did in Atlanta
Mm.
and the tensions that I set for myself, the things that I
Hmm.
believed in, the dreams that I believed in, and realized that, oh, well, I helped myself get here because I
Absolutely.
believed in my dreams. So it's just
Absolutely.
beautiful full circle moment within a year's time of my big leap to London.
Wow. Wow. Well, I have to say, Travis, you are inspiring people. Here's what B had to say. He said that's so true. A lot of people make goals but never manifest to become real. That might be one of my biggest reasons something didn't happen because I really never believed it could happen. Thanks. Well, I hope you believe now, B, for sure. Because look, Travis is a living example of what manifesting that ish. I just like to say that,
Me
Travis. I just like
too.
to say that.
That's nice for you too.
Man, yeah, it does. Here's a question from Bella. What was your favorite thing about living in London?
Well, I still relatively live there
Oh,
unofficially. So I'm heading there this Saturday. I'll be there for 2 months straight.
oh, okay.
The only reason I'm not there longer is because I want to dodge their winter and go to South Africa for their summer.
Okay.
But my favorite thing about London is, that's hard. It's almost like a 4 or 5 way tie,
Oof.
really. Um, I'm really big into music, and so London I think has a really great music, not only a
Mm,
music scene but just a good ear for music. So a lot of
mhm,
music acts that might be underground in the States even are more prime time over there.
mm,
I like that it's a creative place. It's very diverse. I need diversity in the spot that in the city that I want to live at. It's walkable. It's safe compared to a lot of cities in the States because there's really no guns. um, can't say the food is my favorite part of London, but the architecture,
really?
No. And I'll keep it real. It's like, yeah, I'd rather be
Eh.
in the States or South Africa. South Africa food is amazing.
Oh,
But
really?
other
What's
than
your
that,
favorite
like,
South
hmm?
Africa? I know you. What's your favorite? You can tell me later, but what's your favorite dish? Think about that.
Anything in a braai. And a braai is a South African version of a barbecue.
Okay.
I think that they have the best meats in the world. It's like a tie with them in Argentina. So if you're into steak and
Mm.
sausages and all that, South African meats are unbeatable.
Mm.
Yeah, but yeah, London. It's always going to be my favorite place on earth. I always just get butterflies whenever I return, landing in Heathrow or Gatwick Airport, and being able to be in the flow of the city that I love, and that's been so good to me.
Oh, amazing. So kind of walk us, Travis, through like what the day in the life of for you as a travel journalist is like while you're on assignment. What is that like?
Okay, on assignment. I'm glad you asked that because, or like asked that specifically because I feel like 70% of life as a travel journalist isn't that glamorous. It's a lot of admin work. It's
I
actually
know.
writing the piece. It's
I know.
pitching. It's
Hmm.
dealing with rejections of those pitches. It's chasing pitches. It's chasing invoices.
Mm.
It's a lot. But when I am on the job, like the good part, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's rewarding. It definitely beats an office job, but it's still work. And depending on the format of a press trip that I might be doing, I might be alone, which is an individual trip, or I might be on a group press trip. And a lot of times with group press trips, you are on a pretty much a strict schedule.
Hmm.
So you might want to sleep in until 11, but you can't because you have an 8 a.m. meeting with the marketing director at the hotel or at a museum. So you got to get up
Right.
and do your job. And sometimes you're on the go until 9 p.m. because the dinners are like 2-3 hours long. So sometimes it can get a little taxing.
Hmm.
But of course, again, it beats being in a cubicle, from 9 to 6. And yeah, it's fun. It completely changes every time. It can be as busy as a city itinerary. It can be as relaxed as being in one resort. So my last press trip was just 2 weeks ago to St. Regis, Maldives. So even though it was
Oh,
a group trip, like we had our own, villa, and it was
right.
pretty much relaxed. We just kind of
Mhm.
met up for lunch, dinner, and a few activities. So I like more laid back trips where I can kind of do my own thing. But yeah, it's a very rewarding and fun job for sure.
I'm happy that you said it still work because, as you know, I too am a travel journalist, and I had a friend, and I'm not going to call her out because she might be watching, but I remember her telling me, she's like, "That's not a job." I was like, "Oh, okay, it's
Yeah,
not
I hate
work."
when people say that.
Uh,
You're on holiday.
You
Yeah.
have no idea what kind of things go into it. Looks glamorous because that's how it's supposed to be presented as is. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a dream job, it's amazing, but it's a job.
Yep.
It's a job. There's a lot of work, but it's something that I know you look forward to, especially traveling to the Maldives. I look forward to being able to sometimes I just get excited to walk into an airport. I don't care what airport it is, just knowing that I'm about to go on a trip, I get excited.
Yes.
So thank you for setting the record straight if she didn't believe me when I tell people and I tell her that it is work, but it is an amazing job. So let's talk. Speaking of job and the passion for travel, let's talk more about the passion for travel.
Mm.
And you talked about how you got into the travel space and
Mhm.
knowing that the world is yours. Um, what are some of your favorite places?
Okay. Well, favorite city will always be London.
Hmm.
Favorite American city will be Chicago.
Really?
Absolutely.
It
I
is
think it
beautiful.
has probably one of the worst international PR images. Because I
Yeah,
think when people abroad, when they hear Chicago, they just think about South Side, West Side, shootings,
right.
danger. But
Yeah.
it's like, guys, it's like going to New York, but only being in like Eastern New York.
Right.
Eastern borough, where it's very like East Brooklyn basically, which is
Right.
not a great place. But Manhattan is different. Midtown Manhattan and downtown is different. So Chicago is so amazing. The food, the fact that it's beaches, it's diverse, of course. The architecture is incredible. I love Chicago.
Incredible.
It needs more. It needs better PR. It's an incredible city.
You know
Um,
what? Maybe we need to work on that, Travis, or you with your the travel writing. I
yeah.
think I agree with you on that. Because I enjoy visiting. Now, I do enjoy visiting during the spring and summer months. Um,
Yes. My cutoff is September.
right.
Yeah.
What's some other international places?
Yeah. So favorite country, hands down, is South Africa.
Clearly.
Yes. So funny enough, when I went, when I became a travel journalist, it was my second time going, but now I try to go every year if I can help it. And honestly, my ideal situation, some people are, they say like, guard your dreams, don't tell people your intentions. Like, no, I'm gonna tell y'all because I want y'all to see what happens when I make it happen. So
Tell
I'm like,
us.
doggone
Tell us.
right now, my ideal life is to split most of the year between London and South Africa. So I'll be in London in the Northern Hemisphere's warmer months, spring, summer, and maybe early fall. When it gets a bit too cold, then I'll go to South Africa. I'll split time in Johannesburg and Cape Town and, kind of just chase the sun each
Mm.
year. Have a place in London, have a place in South Africa, UK residency or, citizenship and visa, and definite leave to remain in South Africa. And that will be the life for me.
What about the US?
Um, I'll visit. I'll pop by. um,
Oh no. You just said you
yeah,
love
I
Chicago.
love Chicago, but honestly, I did say I would love a summer home in Chicago.
Okay.
So
Okay.
maybe a few weeks out of the year, but
Okay.
it'll mostly be London and South Africa, to be honest. But other places that I really love, we can do cities first and then maybe countries. So cities would be Tel Aviv,
Mm.
really cool place. Um, only did Buenos Aires for 48 hours, but really enjoyed it. I know it's a very polarizing place, but I really enjoyed Paris.
I
Even
love
though I haven't been in
Paris.
8 years, I love Paris.
It's hard not to love Paris, in my opinion, but whew,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Paris. I
I can't
was
wait
there
to go.
pre-pandemic. Hmm.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yes,
Yeah, I hope to
yes.
go next month because it's been so long. I can't believe it's been 8 years. So pre-travel writing.
Free travel writing. Right,
Yeah,
right, right.
so it's high time that I go under a different lens and maybe stay these luxury places that I can't afford, but now I can stay at because of my job. Uh, I really love, as far as countries, Australia. Yeah,
Ah.
that's a polarizing place too from people that haven't been there, but I've been there
Hmm.
twice and I really enjoyed it. I enjoy Sri Lanka because I've actually never been more celebrated for my skin color than in Sri Lanka. To be
Really?
honest, yeah. Um, it's almost like they're for Black Americans, like there are just like the African diaspora that they're like our long lost cousins, maybe,
Hmm.
because a
Yeah.
lot of us share the same complexion, and so a lot of people like reached out to me like when I was just walking down the streets and were just like, "Hey, we share the same skin color. We're brothers." Or we're just like, "I love you. Like, thanks
Yeah.
for coming." And like they were just so happy to see someone like me, in
Wow.
their space. So that was a beautiful experience. I'd say the two most underrated places, like just unexpectedly amazing, would be Uganda
Hmm.
and Kazakhstan.
Mm.
I had
Wow.
no idea what to expect in Kazakhstan. All I knew was
Hmm.
Borat,
Right, right,
right? Which
right.
is not a real depiction, but what a beautiful country with really lovely people, and
Hmm.
it's also cheap as well. So if you are into affordable travel, Kazakhstan is fantastic for that.
Mm. So, Travis, I want to bring in some question and comments, but I also want to go back two parts. I want to go back because I'm ready for you to say the favorite, my favorite place, your favorite place that we talked about. It's just taking, I know you have a lot of great places to go to. We talked about this before. We just talked, and I said, shh, don't say no more. Okay, we talked about Thailand.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I figured you were going to
I
get
need
there.
I
But
need
let
to
me
do
bring in
Thailand
some,
more, to be honest, because
huh?
I was so busy with what I was doing. We'll get into that, but like I need to see Thailand more. Yeah, but it was definitely with that experience. Thailand was the, I guess the setting for one of the coolest things to ever happen in my life. So I'll
Mhm.
always remember Thailand for that.
Yes. So he said, this is great info. Thank you both. And Tynesha said, wow, I've never heard of these places. I need to get out. So thank you for sharing these places,
No problem.
Travis. And here's another question from B. So I've been to Italy. I think he's asking, have you been to Italy and what are your thoughts on Italy?
Hmm. So I feel like I have done the non-touristy or
Hmm.
non-popular side of Italy, and honestly, I'm dying to see Amalfi Coast and
Ah, me too.
Florence and
Hmm.
Rome and Lake Como, but I haven't yet. So
Yeah.
I think I've been twice. I was there for like a day or two for a cruise. Went to Sicily, which is
Hmm.
really nice. Got to see Mount Etna and really beautiful Roman ruins. And then I went to a small town called Trentino for a conference. Just a nice small village town, whatnot. Nice historical touches, but I haven't seen the Italy of my dreams. So I would love to do that next summer. So thanks for reminding me.
Yes. And so I think B is my co-host today, Travis, because we're on the same page here. Because this was one of my question. He says that was my next question. Travis, during your travels, have you experienced a lot of racism? I wanted to talk about that.
Mm,
And so again, B's my co-host today.
okay. Glad to have you on, B. Um, no, not a lot
Hmm.
of racism. Not a lot. There are some places where I definitely feel that. Unfortunately, I don't know if I know that definitely other people might feel it of my color, but sometimes the racist incidents start before you even enter that country. It starts at the airport,
Yep.
honestly.
Hmm.
And I'll never forget. It was, I think, because it happened. It happened a few months between each other. Was going to Moscow, and shockingly, going into Osaka, Japan,
Hmm.
where I was like profiled twice, like first at the border security and then at customs. Like, I just couldn't believe that I didn't bring drugs into their
Wow.
to their country, and so they pulled up a pictogram showing like 16 different drugs, and would just point one by one. Did you bring this? And I was like, no. Did you bring this? Did you bring this? And still proceeded to open my bag. So not
Wow.
fun. Thankfully, I've never experienced anything like very heinous. Like you might
Hmm.
get some looks, you might get people across the street when you're walking, but nothing sinister. So, um, yeah, thankfully I've had a overall good experience in most places out there.
And I can relate to you where I've been to a few places, particularly like I've been to Croatia,
Mm,
and the people were nice, but they stare. It was just a lot of looks. And at one point, you're just in places like, and then you realize it's almost like they're not used to seeing people who look like us.
right.
But even to be here in the U.S., I've been to San Juan Islands, and yeah, San Juan Islands, and clearly there weren't many. I should say I was the only one on the island. I'm just going to say it. And so when you walk into establishments, they stare. They
Yeah,
stare. And it can be a bit uncomfortable, but I just keep living my best life because again, I have my dream job. So
that's right.
you know what I mean? But it could be obvious, but it just doesn't stop us from pushing forward. So okay, so thanks for the question, B. So back to your favorite cities or and destinations.
Yeah. What are some other favorite cities? Um, besides Johannesburg. The only reason I'm putting Cape Town in is because I do think it's the most beautiful city on earth,
Oh wow, okay.
but it's not my favorite city overall. I want to get into all of the reasons why, because I want this to be a positive.
You know, I was about to ask.
Yeah, it's naturally beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Socially, different story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Johannesburg will forever be my second favorite city after London.
Mm.
Naturally, not as beautiful, but you know, socially, almost light years ahead.
Is it the culture? Is it the culture there?
It's the culture. It's the fact that the majority demographic that lives there, you see that reflected in all sectors of society.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a bit different in Cape Town. Whereas the minority is only in those nice places to the point where you don't see much of the majority of the South African population
Mm-hmm.
in those nice places. So I'll be blunt, like I can count on my hands the many times I've been in a restaurant in Cape Town and have seen another black person being served in Cape Town in Africa.
Hmm.
Johannesburg, different story. It's
Mm-hmm.
mixed with black and white and Indian, so it's a lot more progressive. And
Okay.
me being originally from New York, that's what I look for in a
Right.
city. South Africa, all countries have its problems, and it's has really bad inequality, but it's it's a little bit more ahead in Joburg and
Right.
Cape Town, and I feel more comfortable as a black person there than I do in Cape Town.
Right.
So, but Cape Town for the wine, the food, the natural beauty, incredible. Countries though, Safari, Kenya. Oh wow, life changing.
You really love Africa.
Yeah, I do. Seychelles is also one of the most beautiful places I've ever been,
Oh
and
wow.
I didn't know much about it before I went there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a big destination for a lot of Americans, but you know, it's off the coast of Africa, so it's part of Africa. You know,
Mm-hmm.
incredible stuff, and I like going to Africa so I can help dismantle the negative perception that it's all poverty and orphanages
That's
and also just
fantastic.
safaris. Like there's so much more to this vast
Absolutely.
continent of 54 countries and
Right.
hundreds of languages, if not thousands, and
Right.
different cultures. It's not a monolith. So I just love going to different regions and showing that parts on social media and writing about it in articles.
Absolutely. Good for you. And I want to talk to you about Travis. Like, we have a question come in. My co-host has a question for you before we segue onto something else. Travis, have you been to Denmark or Nova Scotia? If so, what's it like there?
Funny enough, I did go to Copenhagen in July.
Oh,
Yeah, it was very nice. So maybe you think in your head that Copenhagen is like a storybook city, and it is. It
hmm.
is like picture perfect, like fairy tales, like colorful homes, and everyone's like perfectly dressed, casual, but
Yeah.
just perfectly put together and tall, and everyone's on bikes, and it feels safe. Nothing feels out of order. It's not loud. Everyone, good manners, chill. Don't see a wad of gum on the street in sight. It's all so pretty. Now, on the flip side, with me, you know, beauty is nice, but sometimes I'm like, well, where's the where's the buzz? Where's the edge? Where's the
Substance. Where is it?
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
So I kind of saw myself like wanting a little bit more, so I don't know. That I think that's why I like just like compared to Joburg and Cape Town, like Joburg
Hmm.
has so much energy. Like it's such
Mm.
a and it's like buzzy, energy with that je ne sais quoi that I like.
Ooh, it's a vibe then.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you been to Joburg?
I have not. And
You gotta
I'm
get
embarrassed
there.
to say I haven't been to Africa yet.
Okay. Well, you know Maurice.
I
And
do, Maurice. And Maurice, hey, Maurice with Black Travel Expo. Hey, Maurice, give him
yes,
a shout
yes.
out. It will Black Travel Expo. We talked about this a few weeks ago. You all will be heading to Atlanta in June, first weekend in June.
And I'll
Yes,
be there as
shout out.
well.
Oh, okay. You're gonna
Yeah,
be there.
I will
Travis will
be
be
there. I'll be there
there.
speaking.
Breaking news. I didn't know this. Yes, this is
Yes.
good to know. Black Travel Expo will be here in the Atlanta area next summer in June. And Travis, my man Travis, will be there speaking about travel. That's awesome. That's good to
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you
Congratulations.
there in person.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. We got to grab a
Yes,
drink, talk travel like we're talking travel. And
exactly.
as we are continuing to talk travel, I want to know, like, what made you get to the point where you wanted to focus on luxury travel?
Um, I like to say I didn't find luxury, luxury found me.
Hey, I love that. I absolutely love that.
Well, at the time, I just thought it was happenstance, but then I had to think back before I took that leap to London and thought, like, when I was visualizing me traveling the world, what kind of travel was I thinking about? It was traveling like a baller,
Mm,
honestly. So I thought, like, maybe I have to win a lottery or be a multimillionaire entrepreneur. But I'm not about the hustle life if I don't have to. I
mm-hmm,
want to be in a nice villa, 5-star dining if I want to. I want to be able to wake up and if I want to go to a festival that's happening in a week's time in New Zealand, I want to be able to do that.
mm-hmm.
Just having the means. But it's funny because the way life worked for me is that I didn't need money to make those dreams come true.
Okay.
So life has a way of making the things that you want happen without the way that you expect it. But you, of course, have to be open to it and listen to that inner voice, and it might be a different way. And that was not way for me. But anyway, when I went to South Africa and based myself there, I didn't have I didn't have a niche,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing a story in Mozambique. There's this guy that like very well connected, and so I was going to do a story just about the capital city of Maputo.
Mm-hmm.
Just a general interest, 48 hours and whatever. But he said, "Hey, are you also interested in this all villa remote beach resort in south coast Mozambique? They'll fly you by helicopter. They have like gourmet chefs. Is that something you might be interested in?" uh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I don't think I have to think about that anymore. So once I got a taste of that, and that was what I had mentioned. That was the same villa, resort that I had mentioned a few minutes ago. Um, when I had a taste of that, I'm like, oh, I think I found my beat. I think I found my lane. And it just kind of repeated itself when I went back to South Africa and explored the hotels and resorts in Cape Town. And but it was just like I look back, I'm like, wait, but this is matching the way that I wanted to dream, the way I wanted to travel in the first place. Look at that. So yeah, that's how that happened.
So I brought our fonts back up, your name back up, so people can go see what luxury looks like. Particularly the most recent video you have on your Instagram at is it the St. Regis Maldives?
Yes.
Ooh, honey. Amazing. Tell us about that trip, which was I'm assuming a recent trip. You talked about it earlier.
Yeah, I came back about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. So that was a press trip.
Yeah, that was a press trip. It was me and two other journalists and
Hmm.
two publicist marketing managers that came, to chauffeur us and help us answer questions that we have for our stories. But yeah, it was.
Is this story going to be in a publication that we can look out for?
Yes. I haven't confirmed the outlet yet,
Okay.
I'm waiting for an editor at one publication to go ahead and give me the green light, but you hopefully will see it sometime in November.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, the video's out. Again, go to his Travis's Instagram. It's Mr. Levius on Instagram, and you'll be able to see all that greatness that he just posted very recently. And if you
Much
have a
more to
question,
come.
oh, much more to, and more to come. Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
you
that's just
just,
the first one of the St. Readers. I have a few
ooh,
other, things up my sleeve for the next few days. So if you're into the, Saint like the Maldives villas and resorts, and definitely look back at the Instagram account over the next week.
some of us are just going to live vicariously through you right now. Okay. If you have any questions or comments, oh, well, here's a question. Janelle says, he's so inspiring, providing a wealth of travel information. I'm taking notes. Yes, I
Oh,
am
thank
too. I'm
you.
over here like, okay, Villa.
Thank you.
So let's see what's next. What else do we have to talk with? So much we've talked about. Um, well, what's to
Thailand.
come? See, that's where I was trying to get to. Thank you. You can be my co-host too. Thailand. That's what we have in common. If anything, we have in common, you all. We discovered we have Thailand. We both have visited Thailand, but Travis has a little more greatness that came out of Thailand
Yeah.
that I would love for him to share. It was an amazing experience that was just more than a travel experience. Could you tell people about it, Travis?
Sure. Since the topic of this talk is power manifestation, I must share. I think the coolest manifestation, most randomest manifestation event of my life. Like, just I could just never believe that this would have been a thing. But anyway, um, for the last few years, I think even before I became a travel writer, so a few years back, I would say to myself, whenever I go to Thailand for the first time, I would love to be there for at least 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, became a travel writer. That's cool. Got invited to Thailand for a press trip, only for like 4 or 5 days. And so I told them, just drop me off, and I'll come and I'll be there for like a month. Of course, I would have loved to be there for at least 2 months, as my intended dream was, but I didn't know how my money was going to be. So I'm like, I probably can do with a month of backpacking in Thailand. So no real plans as I was going to work out everything after that press trip. Well, I'm in like day 2 or 3 after the press trip ends, like on my own, and do my own editorial press trips, like individual trips,
Mm-hmm.
with resorts in Phuket. Then I joined a Facebook for Black travelers in Southeast Asia. A lot of them being in Thailand, and so the founder, it's like the first day I joined a group. The founder's like, Spike Lee is coming to Chiang Mai, and he wants people to be in their movie. I'm like,
Spike
he's
Lee?
bugging. No, I was like, he's bugging. This is a scam. I'm gonna leave this group. My first day on this group, I'm like, this doesn't sound real. But after looking things up and doing my own research, I'm like, oh wow, Spike Lee is coming to Thailand to shoot a movie. So I had to make a decision. Do I continue on staying in Phuket while I'm like at this resort that I'm reviewing, or do I kind of book my tickets in time for this meet and greet,
Mm-hmm.
which is also like a place to register your interest in being in the movie, to Chiang Mai, a place I've never been to before, and abruptly leave like 2 days later? Well, I did the latter.
Mm-hmm.
So got that ticket quickly, cut my review, my press trip short, individual press trip short. Went to Chiang Mai the same day, got a haircut. There's this one spot that knows how to do black hair. Got dressed,
Good
went,
to know. We may have to let us
yeah,
know if it's
yeah.
still
I think it's called
open.
I think it's called Skills Barbershop
Okay.
in Chiang
Okay.
Mai. All the brothers on the call.
Okay. Shout out to
On the chat.
Skills.
Yes. And went to this event, all this a couple of hundred, beautiful black folk, just like nicely dressed, coming from parts of Thailand, but also all the way from Kuala Lumpur. Maybe they came from Vietnam just to meet Spike Lee and hopefully get casted as one of the extras for the film. So I got to meet him, I got to meet other people, sign up. Like I put my details in. I remember putting in my height, 183 centimeters, taking my picture. Cool. What an amazing night.
Right.
Got the call, or sorry, got the email saying that, hi, we would like you to be an extra for the movie. Oh my God, that's great. They probably just want me for like a day or something, right?
Right.
I guess I'll still be here for a month. That's fine. That's enough time. Then got another email a few days later saying, "Hey, we also would like you to be a stand-in. We would need you for like 2 months."
Oh, fantastic.
And I'm like, "Well, who would I be standing in for?" So the movie that it was that they were shooting was The Five Bloods, which was on
Wow.
Netflix.
Right.
And so they didn't tell me who I was standing in for. And for people that didn't know, I didn't know at the time. A stand in is someone that is the same height and almost the likeness of the main actor. And you help the camera team with blocking lighting and positioning so that the main actor can come behind you and hit their marks. So they won't have to do all the technical stuff while the main actor is there. So I said, well, who would I be standing in for? Like, who in this cast like is as tall as me? So
Before you
100.
share,
Uh huh.
I wonder if our viewers know.
Yeah, can you
He's
guess?
Can anybody guess who he was able to stand in for the movie
The Five Bloods.
The Five Bloods? Uh, leave a comment. Let us know. Keep going.
And so it was like 183 centimeters because everything is metric and every the rest of the world other than the states. So I googled this one actor, and I'm like, it couldn't be him. But I googled his height, and it showed up 183 centimeters, just like me. And I said, oh my goodness. I can't believe this. I am standing in for Benjamin got it. The Chadwick Boseman, Mr. Black
Wow.
Panther himself. And
Wow.
so what turned into a 1 month trip turned into 3 months, right? And so I'm in the movie. I'm in the end. So because I was also an extra, because stand-ins aren't shown in the film, but I was an extra too. So you see me at the end of the film for the Black Lives Matter scene,
Hmm.
and I have my name in the credits,
Wow.
and got to work with very accomplished actors, Delroy Lindo and all these other guys, and made friends with fellow stand-ins. We talk to this day, and just forever will cherish that memory of being on the Hollywood film set in the middle of the Chiang Mai jungles,
Mm.
kind of just stumbling upon this amazing opportunity to fulfill my dreams of my years-long dream of being in Thailand for more than a few days. I was there for 3 months, and thanks to Spike Lee and the production team, crazy.
Wow. Crazy. And I want to let people know if they want to know more about this, that you wrote a story for CNN.
Yes.
Wrote a story for CNN. So check out, just pretty, like I said, you can Google Travis, you guys. Travis will pop up. Travis Levius. And Google him and the story, The Five Bloods. And Travis has an article out there where he shares his experience. And how amazing is that? Wow. But again, back to the theme of this show, the power of manifestation.
That's it. It's
Power
like
of
it
manifestation.
costs nothing to state what you want. You
Mm,
know, it's
mm.
it's it's so easy to just say it's not possible. It's so easy to say it's never going to happen to me. It costs nothing to say, well, maybe it is possible. I'm open to the possibility that this can work out for me, or that this can fall on my lap in some way, or that there's be an opportunity out there for me to pursue at the right time. I'm just open. I just think when people just become open to the possibilities, a lot of that magic, a lot of that luck, and fortunate circumstances can fall in someone's lap. And that's just how I've been living over the last few years, and it has not failed me one bit. So
Hmm.
I really recommend people to have that open minded mindset. Just
And
never
like
know.
and like you said, it costs nothing. It costs nothing to dream big.
Oh,
It costs nothing to dream big. That's powerful. So, any we are. I feel like our hour is almost up,
It
Travis. I don't want to
is so
let you
quick.
go because I don't. I may not see you again until next June. In June at the Black Travel Expo.
Mm. It'll come quickly.
It will. So, before I let you go, are there anything exciting, anything on the horizon that you want to share with us?
You know what? I need accountability. And this, I think us chatting about this, I think us chatting about what we chatted about it's a signal for me to like stop playing. So I will say it's gonna probably take a couple of years. Let's say 2 years tops, but I would like to write a book about travel and manifestation.
Mm,
Oh,
you said it here.
yeah,
And now we're going to hold you accountable here on a travel and lifestyle
please.
conversation show because it's powerful and based out on the comments that are coming in. I think that's something you got to add to your vision board. And I think you need to make it happen because I will buy it. And that's not just me saying I will buy it because it's not just about somebody wanting to be in the travel space. Just your examples can help us dream big and think big. Anybody else, anybody who's watching the show and has desires to just achieve anything, and you are a living example of that. So we need this book, Travis. We
Oh,
need this
thank
book.
you.
We need
Thank you.
this book.
Yes. Like my feet to the fire. I've actually been thinking about this book for years, but I need to write my book proposal. So um I need to you know what I need to do? I need to commit to creating my book proposal by the end of the year. And to start that journey of finding an agent. Like I want this, I've always intended to like have my books like be with like an official publishing house or whatnot. Instead
Right.
of like sub publishing. So it's gonna take some time. But you just like what we're talking about now, like you just reminded me like this is really what I want to do. Like the content that you see on Instagram is great. Doing these trips are great, but really what my main passion is to show people like the that things are possible and how to, you know, wield that mindset into your advantage and
Hmm.
attract those things, whether it be travel or anything that you might want. That it's possible and it's more than luck. It's mental strategy, and I
Yeah.
really want to write a book to help people with that and you know make people happy.
Abs-
The happiness
the
is, is
pursuit of
is
happiness that
attainable.
you talked about earlier. The
Yes.
pursuit of happiness that you talked about earlier. And even I'm not the only one who would support. Janelle here says, yes, I would buy it. Also, he must write it. And we know you don't have a problem writing.
Yeah, that's the first hump, right? Yeah, I got over that. Now it's just the time management and getting it
Right.
done. But
Right.
that's my
Right.
real passion is inspirational content. So
So we know the book is coming. We know that'll be coming soon. I'm gonna ask you about it at the Black Travel Expo in June. In
yes.
the meantime, is there anything else that we can expect from you just in 2022? I know you are traveling back to London, so you are leaving us here temporarily.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to London, and then you'll spend some time in Africa. So what's on the horizon while you're in London and Africa?
Oh man, well actually, I'm going back to London for like 3 engagements. It's really cool because this year is the first time I became, I guess, a professional content creator influencer. So I got nominated for 3 awards.
Oh,
Yeah,
congratulations.
yeah,
Yes.
and it takes place in London, so it's like a UK based like influencer consortium, hub, and yeah, got nominated for 3 awards for my work as a content creator. So wishing for a good outcome when I go to the award ceremony, but I have some speaking gigs to do there. 2022, you should see me as a co-author for one of my dream guidebook publications coming out about London. So that comes out in 2022. Can't say who yet because I just submitted the copy, but it'll be my first author byline. Very excited about that. You see, I never really announced where I'm going or what's going to be next as far as content, but let's just say 2022 is going to be an epic lineup of places. So
I
if you
love
ever
it.
need like, inspiration of like, oh, what's possible? What should I put on my bucket list? Like you'll see in my feed on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok.
This is
It's just going to go up from
awesome.
here.
And Travis, before we go, people may or may not know, but you do education is something you do have a passion for, and honestly, with writing,
Yes.
you're educating. There's some service, some things you offer to those who have a desire to get into the travel writing space, right? Am I
Yes, I do.
okay? Okay, okay.
Thank you for circling back for me with that. So yes, I do have right now. I have a travel writing workshop. It's called Pandemic Proof Travel Writing workshop, and it's a on-demand course. So it's self-study. So you get on there, and there's a lot of just great tidbits on how to flourish as a freelance travel writer in this day and age, which is quite different from how it was pre-pandemic, because there's a lot of publications that have closed, and budgets might have changed, but there's still a way for you to make a name for yourself and to make an income and get those bylines and have a really wonderful career as a freelance travel writer. So love
Where's the
sharing that.
website? I'm sorry to interrupt.
It's okay.
Where's the web? I want to put the website up for people who may be interested in checking it
Ah,
out.
let's see. Let me. I'm gonna copy and paste it.
Okay.
Okay, so people can get it because it's not like the easiest. Let's see. I'm gonna add it in the chat. Uh,
You can add it in.
Actually, I
There's a
had it
private chat.
yours. Yeah,
Okay. And I
perfect.
can include it in
And
a banner. And by the way, while you're doing that, people were issuing congratulations
oh,
for
thank you.
your nominations and awards to come. We're going to manifest that. You're going to win.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, so here is the link, and I will try to add it so everybody could find it, but also uh there we go. Let me take this other banner off. Sorry to interrupt, Travis. I just want to make sure that people could see. It's learn with Levius dot period teachable.com. Great. And honestly, you all, I have just purchased the workshop. I am going to be taking the course. Yes. I'm excited about it. And I'm only maybe 20 minutes in, and he's already given me so much amazing knowledge. So thank you, Travis. I encourage anybody who has an interest, and even if it's not, if you just want to write, there may be some valuable tips there too.
Mhm.
So, what else, Travis? Is that it?
Is it?
Are we
I'm always
already
doing
at the end of
something.
the show?
Hour went by really quickly.
It really did. It's just you gave us so much greatness. More congratulations, of course, from
Thanks,
Brian
Brian.
P. Long. Just so much. Oh, this is one of the last questions I may have.
Hmm.
I because after listening to some of the workshop, one thing I loved off the top when you talked about your why, asking us, those of your students, the
Hmm.
why.
Yes.
I would love for you to share with everyone your why
Mm,
as it relates to travel space, because it's so powerful.
thank you. My why has morphed now that I know what I'm doing. Because remember, in the beginning, I kind of just stumbled into travel writing and realized,
Right.
oh, this matched with what I was dreaming about. Just didn't know it was going to be in this vehicle. But now that I've been doing this for a few years, I have seen, my why is very clear now. And my why is to promote representation of Black people or people of color, different backgrounds in the space, especially the luxury space,
Hmm.
to just demonstrate that we belong in these places and we can flourish in them as well. So I like to, share, my journey and share stuff on social media just so that people can say, or, and hopefully write for those magazines and see my face the contributors page so that other people that might look like me that have been discouraged by the lack of diversity in these places to say, oh, well, maybe there's a chance for me too. Like maybe I belong in those places because I want to tell people like you do deserve to be in these places. You are absolutely worthy to be a travel writer or a luxury traveler.
Mm.
Is I think representation is so important. So I just try to do my part with what I do, my job to represent.
I so valuable and an amazing why. And thank you. Thank you. Um, Here it just in case anyone missed it earlier, you can follow Travis on Instagram to get all his greatness. Mr. Levius, but you also, again, Google is our best friend. We all know that. Google Travis Levius just to find out all of the great articles he has out there with many different publications. We will be looking out for all your greatness travel. Any final words
Mm.
before we say goodbye temporarily until I see you again, at least in June?
I'm a big fan of journaling. So,
Ah,
does anyone out there on the live or watching this after the live that want to manifest travels, take time to write it down. And if you feel like you have, a problem with confidence, write it down.
mm,
Kind of sort out like where's that lack of confidence coming from, and then seeing
mm,
how you can overcome it. I do think that most of um, what blocks us from success, whether it be travel or anything, is the lack of clarity and confidence. So with journaling, that can help you with those two things and kind of get rid of those blocks that's holding you back. And hopefully with that, that starts you on a journey to be where you want to be. So I definitely recommend journaling your journey.
journaling your journey. Amazing. Thank you for that. And Brian he says this has been a wealth of knowledge. Thank you. And I agree
So
with him. It
welcome.
really has. And Brian says again, Travis, thank you for making the path for others like us. I couldn't agree more. I thank you as well. This has been an amazing few minutes. Who's counting the time? It just went by too fast. Thank you so much. And many people know one thing I like to say when I close out is everyone travel safely, live intentionally, and cherish every moment. Because that is TLC. It's been a great show. Travis, safe travels back
Tamika,
to London and
thank
everywhere
you.
else you will be around the world. We will be watching you, following you, uh, you're taking us with you, and we're living vicariously through you. We will see you around the world, and then I will see you in June at the Black Travel Expo.
That's right.
All
Thank you
right,
so
you
much.
all, thank you, thank you, thank you. Everyone, have an amazing evening, and thanks for tuning in.